Erev Shabbat Shalom Rabotai. We are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Ketubot. We are up to Perek Ted Mishnah Hey. Today's Mishnayot should be Le'elu Nishmat Neria ben Svetlana Ranbai V'Eliyahu ben Burcha Israel ben Chana bad Miriam Menuchatam Meganeden Amen Le'avdi ben Chaim L'Chaim V'Derefua Shelemav Daniel Shalom ben Rosa B'tor Shah Cholei Israel. The previous Mishnah taught that in certain circumstances a wife can be made to swear that she did not steal from her husband. Furthermore, there are situations where a wife cannot collect her ketubah without swearing either to her husband or to his heirs that she was not already paid. Our Mishnah deals with the husband who tells his wife that he will never require her to make any of these oaths. Katav lah neder u'shvua en li alayich. If the husband wrote to his wife, now the law is the same if he said it to her without writing it down, I will have no claim of a vow or oath against you. Now the difference between a vow and an oath, a neder and a shvua, is as follows. A neder, a vow, is imposed on an object. For example, I hereby make a neder, a vow, that apples are forbidden to me. Whereas a shvua, an oath, applies to a deed. For example, I hereby make a shvua, an oath, that I will eat an apple. Either one can be used to deny having received payment. For instance, one could say, I hereby make an oath, a shvuah, that I was not paid, or one could say, I hereby make a neder, a vow, that all the produce in the world is forbidden to me if I was paid. Since it is impossible to completely refrain from eating produce, this is equivalent to saying that no payment was received. A person who makes a false shvuah oath incurs a greater punishment than one who violates a neder, a vow. In many cases, a shvuah is required, but in some situations, the sages treated a wife leniently and allowed her to make a neder instead. So if a husband wrote to his wife, I will have no claim of a vow or oath against you, en yachol hashbiyah, he cannot make her swear, aval mashbiyahu et yorshea, but if he divorces her and she dies without having collected her ketubah, he can make her heirs swear before they collected, v'ima ba'im birshutah, and he can also make those who take her place swear, meaning if someone bought the right to collect her ketubah, he must swear before he does so. It is possible for a woman to sell her ketubah to a third party. If her husband then dies or divorces her, the buyer is entitled to her ketubah payment, but if she dies while married, in which case there is no ketubah payment, the buyer loses his money. Since the husband wrote, I will have no claim against you, he agreed only that his wife would not have to swear, but anyone else who collects her ketubah must still swear. Now if someone who is owed a debt dies, and his heirs come to collect the debt, but the debtor claims that he already paid their father, they cannot collect anything, even if they are holding a document, unless they take the oath of the heirs, meaning they must swear that their father never told them that he had already been paid, and that they did not find a receipt among his papers stating that he had already been paid. This is what the Mishnah says in Masechet Shvuot, chapter 7, Mishnah 7. Similarly, if someone who was owed a debt sold it and then died, the buyer must make the oath of the heirs before he can collect. The same law applies in the event that a divorced woman dies. When her heirs or the buyer of the ketubah come to collect the ketubah, the husband is not required to pay unless they take the oath of the heirs. The Mishnah teaches that the oath is obligatory even if the husband had told her, I will have no claim of a vow or oath against you, because by specifying you, he implies that only the wife is exempt from swearing, but her heirs or buyers are obligated. Her heirs or buyer are obligated. Now the Mishnah continues, Neder u'shvua en li alayich v'al yorshayich v'al habayim birshutich. If he wrote, I will have no claim of a vow or oath against you, your heirs or those who take your place. Eno yachol hashbiyah lo hi v'lo yorshea v'lo et habayim birshutah. He cannot make her or anyone else swear, not her, not her heirs, and not those who take her place, since he specified all of them. Aval yorshav mashbin otah v'et yorshea v'et habayim birshutah. But if he dies and she comes to collect her ketubah from his estate, his heirs can make her heirs, or those who collect her place swear before they collect. We have learned that if one person owes money to another and then dies, the claimant cannot take any property from the debtor's heirs unless he swears that he has not yet been paid, like we saw in Mishnah 2. Since the husband wrote, I will have no claim against you, he gave up only his right to demand an oath and not the right of his heirs. If he wrote, I, my heirs, and those who take my place. Now the words those who take my place refer to people who buy property from the husband. If he wrote that I, my heirs, and those who will take my place will have no claim of a vow or oath Alayev v'al yorshayich v'al habayim birshutich, against you, your heirs, or those who take your place, and no yachol hashbiyah, he cannot make her swear, lo hu v'lo yorshav v'lo habayim birshuto, lo otah v'lo yorshav v'lo habayim birshutah, that neither, that is, meaning He cannot make her swear. Neither he, nor his heirs, nor those who take his place can demand a vow or oath from her. Her heirs are those who take her place. If the husband does not have any property when his wife comes to collect her ketubah, but he has sold property earlier, his wife can collect from the buyer. Now, normally she must swear first that she had not been paid. In our case, however, where the husband had said, I, my heirs, and those who take my place will have no claim or vow or oath, she does not need to swear. That is on about that Mishnah 5. Now Mishnah 6 continues with the last case of Mishnah 5, where the husband said that neither he nor his heirs will make his wife swear. Now we learned in Mishnah 4 that a woman who was put in charge of her husband's property can be made to swear that she did not take any of it. This Mishnah discusses whether his heirs can make her take such an oath if she manages property after he died. If she went directly from her husband's grave to her father's house and had nothing to do with her husband's property after he was buried, or or if she went back to her father-in-law's house, meaning she stayed in her husband's home, but she was not made an administrator of his property after he was buried, the husband's heirs cannot make her swear that she did not take anything between the time he died and the time he was buried, even though she was in charge of the estate during that period. The heirs cannot force her to swear about what she did with her husband's property in his lifetime, because he had stipulated that she will not have to make any such oath to him or to his heirs. Nevertheless, they should have the right to demand an oath concerning the period after his death, because his promise applies only to issues that concern him, like her ketubah payment and her management of his property while he was alive. Once he dies, however, and his property goes to his heirs, they should be able to make her swear about what she did with it after his death. Our Mishnah teaches that even after the husband's death, the heirs cannot demand such an oath. The rabbis were concerned that if the heirs could make her swear about the money she spent after her husband died, she may not be willing to spend anything on his funeral unless she was observed by witnesses who could testify that she had spent the money properly. This would delay the funeral, which would be degrading to the deceased. So to prevent this, the rabbis decreed that she does not have to swear about what she did between the death and the burial. However, if she was made an administrator of his property after he was buried, the heirs can indeed make her swear about the future, meaning they can make her swear that she did not take anything after the burial, just as any person who hires someone to manage his property can make him swear that he did not steal anything. Although her husband said that his heirs would not make her swear, the promise does not apply to her management of the estate after the burial when it belongs to the heirs. But they cannot make her swear about the past, meaning they cannot make her swear that she did not take anything when her husband was alive. This is because our Mishnah's cases where the husband had said that neither he nor his heirs would make her swear. That is the Nabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Everybody should have a Erev Shabbat Shalom. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen.